So, hello everybody. This is a new format I'm trying. So we're gonna do some storyboarding and study composition study. So I just captured the canvas, but I put several screen caps of Arcane first episode. So we're gonna go through a few of them and just do some basic storyboarding. So we don't intend to do amazing art, but just to to learn about composition. So let's imagine that the frame is somewhere. Oh, nice. So this is the video. What kind of video? So it follows the line here. So we're gonna do the framing of the image in this frame approximately. So we have about 2 lines here, another line here, and the character in the background is turning his back, I think, at this point. So I put the video of a diaporama of screen captures I did of the first episode of the first season, and I intend to go through the whole of Arcane season 1 and then season 2, or at least season 1. Let's see, because maybe to shift a little bit, I might do another movie or anime to switch a bit, but let's do season 1. So for storyboarding, people can do into more detail or less detail. If you look at some storyboard art, so some they do very tedious storyboarding, like Akira storyboards or Tokyo Godfather storyboard. They are very clean, very high quality drawings for storyboard. So here we don't want to bother too much, but we know it doesn't have to follow perfectly. It's just a framework. There's some funny stuff with the frame. It tends to follow the frame, but that's okay. I might do a different kind of file for the next video. So when you study composition and storyboarding, things like that, you don't try to do an amazing drawing to impress others or yourself, or make yourself feel better about drawing, but just it's more about the skeleton, at the level of the skeleton of the drawing that you want to improve. It's like working out. It's not like aesthetic surgery. You know, like if drawing beautiful drawing is like aesthetic surgery, doing storyboarding, composition studies, things like that is more like daily jogging or working out to get stronger. So you just want to get the for example, here we have the foreground. This is the two characters here, and here in this composition you could say that this is middle ground, and here this space is the background. So we're gonna see in different cases that there is often different tones. So I add a new layer for some toning. So I'm gonna go pretty rough on it. So here we have no, this is too thick. We're gonna go with the grays. So we have the background is like a, we have to go to multiply, make it so this is the background. Then for the middle ground we have roughly speaking, we have this character in the middle ground, and the frames we also have some clouds here in the middle ground. So usually we want to have one object that stand out between back, middle, and foreground. So the background serves as a way to bring out a focus element in the middle ground, and then here, for example, the clouds, the smoke of the middle ground helps to then bring out the characters on the foreground. So colors and tones, they are used to guide the eye and give the composition its readability. I don't know if that's English, but you get the point. So you need different tones, different contrast to make the image clear for the viewer. Here we have also some smoke in the foreground. So you get the idea. So this is kind of storyboarding. This is good enough for a storyboard, you know. Then you can go into more details depending on the way you work and with whom you work. So let's go for another one. So I'm gonna delete this one, next one, and delete this. Okay. And here, delete. So we do another one. So here we have the foreground is the strong chunk. So let's take the same frame. So we have a good chunk here. And here we have the forearm, the gauntlet. It's a little bit not exactly the same. Let's correct a bit. All right. And then we have middle ground here about a little bit higher. Yeah, a little bit. They're looking a little bit up. The diaporama is also interesting, I think, for to understand the shots and the use of visual angles and characters expression and so on to do the storytelling. So I don't want to go too into the details, but because storyboarding is about also focusing, I think, on the what matters in each frame, each image. So we want to focus on what matters, and on this scene, what matters is the relation that starts to manifest between the characters. So we want to get the kind of expression on the face. A little bit of kind of wondering who's that guy. He doesn't want to hurt us, and we're in kind of a dire situation. So it's like hope, a certain figure of hope, of safety, maybe, of mentorship or something. So if you are interested in drawing, then I will be very happy if you use this opportunity to do this kind of exercise, to look at the diaporama video and then try this kind of exercise like I do now. So she's also, they are both in the same kind of mental state, a little bit afraid, but also realizing there's no danger actually coming from him. Her face is a little bit too chubby. She's a bit more skinny. And then we're gonna do some tones to get the values a little bit. So grab this one. So we have a kind of a clear background. You see some light, kind of. It's less dusty, and everything is about a language, visual language. So any slight change to the colors, to the saturation, can be interpreted in terms of emotion and mood and so on. I will add a tiny bit of the, let's see where I'm here. Okay, so I will add okay, just a tiny bit here too. Whatever. So we go back. Take there's a little bit still some smoke floating around. Okay, then the characters, they are the tone is mid, so it's kind of a little bit blending. So Putting tone can help if you aim for the shading or the color scheme, or to get the idea of the values, the contrast. So it's good to put some values usually. So if you train to study like that, others work, then you can learn by studying about the foreground, middle ground, background. Just get the alphabet, the the alphabet to create your own composition later on, knowing the basics. So let's do another one. So now so this is first one, second, third. So I switch a little bit. I try to find some different kinds of compositions. So this one is a little bit more flat, but there is still some foreground and background and so on. So this one, we try to get the main elements. So we have a stack of something here. We have a pillar. The pillar then stretches out a bit with some lines. Right. So this is kind of not exactly like that, but getting some basic frame. For some pillar, then some trash from the some kind of infighting between the people and the cops and riot police or something. Here I need to be careful because maybe I can go all the way to here. That's why sometimes you start in the angles also, so you don't get lost in details. So we have the scale also. You can look at where the head is. So you see it somewhere around here. So the guy might be around here, looking down a bit. So here it's closer, and it's, yeah, I don't get the proportion properly, but it's okay. It's just exercise. Here I want to zoom a little bit, see the composition. Ah, yeah. Big sister is like crying. Make sure. Okay. So she's kind of on her knees, kind of. The emotion is a bit too strong. She collapsed. She saw her mom's body or something like that. And we got little sister in the background. So we have the foreground. This is the background. And this is the middle ground. And this is also the focus. So you have some elements here and here that frame, kind of. This also acts as a frame. And here you have the focus. So let's do some tones. So we start from the background. Let's make it big for the background. Multiply. Okay. Then for the middle ground, we're gonna add a little bit in the background. We add a little bit more details for the smoke, kind of. Okay, now middle ground, we go mid-tone with a gray that is a bit stronger. Even a bit more. So we keep to this layer. So this is part of the midground, but visually speaking, in terms of contrast, it's more part of the foreground. But in terms of scaling, in depth, it's like the midground. But the values act also as kind of flow and guide the curves and the tones to guide towards the focus here. So it can be seen as a middle ground, but also as a foreground. I don't have all the professional vocabulary for. I didn't go to art school or anything, you know. I see some video on the matter, and I think as with some years of getting to familiarize myself slowly with the composition and storyboarding, so I kind of get most of the points, but I don't have the technical language sometimes, so bear with me. So here we are. So foreground, you see it's really bring some clear visual layers. So it's important when you want to do your storytelling, you think about what matters at this scene, at this shot, at this image, this frame, this panel, and then you try to visualize the best way to create the image that relays the point, whether it's an emotion or the action or the mood. So we continue. So now it's very different. Here we are at the introduction. Now we are into the present. So this is a top to bottom angle. So this is a bit more technical for drawing. So let me erase this one. Okay. So let's do the basic. So we have first the lines for perspective. So we have some kind of an angle here. And this is pretty vertical. So here we have the boxes. We can go a little bit not too perfectionist. So here we have some more box. We have to be careful with the perspective when we, here you see it's start kind of to go Here is a little bit more stronger, but let's continue to go down. I think here there's some more. This is a window here, and here continues. I don't rotate the canvas too much. I don't want you to have a headache, so I try to twist myself to make it work for the lines. So here we have a bunch of kind of cables. And we have the don't try to go too perfect, but get the some lines for the wall. Here is some kind of railing. And as we go down here, we have some surfaces at the bottom. All right, so now we have the characters going up. So let's get the here second shoulder. So she's looking up, I guess. I think I did the head a little bit too small here. I should make it a little bit bigger. It's just some kind of arm braces. I don't see too. Let me zoom a bit. Okay. I had to see with the. I try to guess a bit, but okay. Then we have the guy. You see, it's kind of catching the same railing but lower, and from a little bit below. So he's reaching up, and his body is like this, with his head looking up, checking our little sibling. Well, I think they are just friends, but they are like the teamwork. And he's also grabbing onto something here. So he has some kind of all right. Then we got this guy. He's grabbing onto some kind of pole, going this way here. So this is going down. I don't get all the details, but he's on his head is at the level of the window here and quite close to it. But his body is kind of like that, grabbing onto this thing here. I try to guess for his legs, but I don't have the I don't see well enough to be sure. But let's guess that it's something like that. Climbing up. So we got the main stuff. Let's do some tones. So as usual, we start with some so here it's a bit different. If we try to look at the foreground, background and so on, what can we analyze? So for me, I would say that the background would be the bottom, this area. And they use a kind of a darker color, kind of. You can see that it's kind of darker. I didn't get the proportion right. This character should be around here, more around here. But this is a quick exercise, so forgive me. So you see the tones is a bit darker. It's like there's less light in the bottom. So it acts kind of as a background in that way. Then you have the mid-tone, some like neutral tones. We don't want to be too detailed because it will also defeat the purpose of a storyboard. This is not about painting or even getting the values perfectly detailed. It's just we have some contrast though, so we can use the contrast still, like the faces. So all right, let's move on. So my friend who worked for Disney, who did some comics for Disney, he said sometimes quantity is more important than quality when you want to train to learn. So I think for this kind of exercise, storyboarding, then it's a good way to approach it, quantity, because the point is not to do a high quality storyboard. That's not the point of storyboard. So yeah, the point is quantity and training, exercising, yeah, like working out. So let's get back to the. So here we have two characters in the foreground, and it's it's kind of like atmospherical perspective going on a lot because the buildings are a little bit placed randomly, so like vanishing points and lines, perspective lines, they are not really very prevalent, important. So if we want to be very rough about this one, we would say that there is like roughly here, chimney. See, we don't want to get lost in details, so let's stop here for the details of the characters. So we have this, we have second character, who is it's also nice to have layers like this character is on the on the front of this character, so it makes layer and atmospheric perspective. Having one object over another is help to understand the image, to understand what is in front, what is in the back. When we are beginners, sometimes we tend to avoid unconsciously to do that, but actually this is very bad because we tend to align everything and everything becomes flat. So you try to notice when you do that, when something in you doesn't want to hide something, like, oh, I don't want, I'm gonna do it here or something. No, you want to have what is in the front is on the front of what is just behind. This way it creates more three-dimension, more quality to the visual clarity, to the depth, everything is so these are things that once you know a little bit how to draw, then you want to learn these things, so you don't spend years and years learn drawing very technically well, but having very bad composition and understanding the harmony, the balance of your composition. So you want to start studying composition at the same time that you learn to draw, because learning to draw is learning to use basic shape to do more complex shapes, to use simple lines to do complicated objects and so on. In the same way, composition and storyboarding is also using basic big shapes, basic strong lines to create the structure of your image. So this can go very well together, and I didn't have this luck for me to know that when I was a child and I start to draw. So if you are younger and you are studying to draw and you are still kind of like a beginner or so or similar, kind of more on the beginner side, then you can learn by not making the same mistake and trying to optimize your learning curve. Yes, a little bit. Yeah, there's a little bit of. Anyway, something like that. Here we have so one layer. We have one object here. This is not absolutely necessary to put all the elements. I could like just stop here and that would be already useful as a storyboard. You know, I could just put here some lines for the here and here tower, and here some buildings, tack, and here like that, and here a flag, and some more building like this, and here we go, we have still some other objects here with the tube, and that's it. You know, you don't need to draw everything. And here we have some mountain in the back, some clouds. All right, and that's it. You know, here I try to draw properly some of the elements that we see in the middle ground. So it's okay to do it, but it's also okay not to do it, depending on you know, sometimes you want to get going with your storyboard. You don't want to get stuck on the visual aspect, because storyboard, you want to get your image before you lose it in your mind. So you want to get going, not to get lost in details. Here, like that. Okay. Okay, let's not get too focused on the details. So we're gonna do some tones here too. See, you get into a productive mindset. And this way you can do a lot of storyboarding and advance your project, whether it's manga, comics, illustrations, or you want to do animation or whatever. You get going with your story. You don't get stuck trying to do a beautiful drawing when you're just supposed to plan your story, to plan your visual frames. Yeah, the middle. This is kind of part of the background, but let's call it that. Yeah. Sometimes just feeling, you know, you just feel one the foreground or the just to understand. And here you get some contrast with the light. Same for this character. Some light in. We will see in some of the shots how light is used to make the characters pop out or one object pop out. Okay, let's get going. I don't mind deleting everything because I'm filming, so I can still look at the video later on. This is just exercise. Okay, so this one is even further back. We saw some of the city, now we see it even more. So here, this is a good example of how not to get lost in the details when you do a storyboard. If we think about the image we want to do and the fact that this is just a storyboard, how not to get lost drawing all this, you know? You just want to know that there is a city, there is a rooftop, and there is three characters, right? And there is a flow. There is the flow of the clouds going in this direction towards the kind of official buildings of the rich people and government and so on. So you want to synthesize, synthesize. So we're gonna go for simple lines first. We have a focus here. This is the top, kind of here. There is the tower, and there is the I don't know, it's like the government buildings or something. There is so this is connected to the earth. This is also connected to the earth. There is some more buildings here to make the shape a little bit kind of not triangular, but here there's a little bit of a slide down or something. And a third building here, continuing here. So you want to put some roofs, some spiky roof stuff, classical. Here you have another building with some kind of, I don't know what it is, I forgot. Okay, there's some thing here, roof, bridge, right? And we have this curve, okay? This is the curve of the hill, and here we have some line of horizon that is a little bit lower. Yeah, quite lower. Yeah. Let me undo all this. If you just do with paper, you can still do quite. It's quite possible to do it just with the paper. You just do a sketch. You do the main lines. Then you build a little bit on top, and you add some shadings with the pencil or with other pens, whatever. So let's go until this line. Okay, we give ourselves some more room here, here, and all the way here. Okay, let's do about all the way here. So then we have this bigger, the rooftop. The rooftop is going about here. Like this, and it's continue. Then we have the chimney. And we have another one here, and another one here. Yes, like that. You see, I try to avoid this one, but it's still doing this mistake. So I noticed it, so I kill this tendency to avoid going behind or over. Okay, whatever. Then we have our characters. You see, you can do very simple, huh? You don't have to draw very well. You can do even stick figures, and it's good enough for a storyboard. Whatever. You see, that's an example. If we do just, we reduce the characters to the stick figure kind of, this still works. Then we have another character a little bit here. Is more chubby, so we're gonna do more like a round shape. We use more like volumes. And a little bit bigger. Okay. So we have some kind of focus like that. And then we have some streets going here. Then one is going there, another one here, and we have some buildings. But if we don't want to do all the buildings, we just do the lines. And we do some more lines like this, and then like this. Here you can do the window, the special window. You can put some detail in the closer to the viewer, to the foreground, and less detail as you go back. You see, here we see the rooftop where they were. You see, the previous drawing, remember? We saw this, and we saw this too, and we saw this, but from a little bit different angle, but it was the same rooftop. So they are at the same place, the two sisters. They are here. Before, the camera was very close here, looking this way, like this, and we would see this at the background. This area was the background, and now the camera is in the background on the top higher. So instead of this as the background and the area over there, so we see what they see, which is the big city where they're gonna do their heist. By the way, if someone from 40 is looking by any chance, when I look back at the scene, it felt like inspired by Final Fantasy VII beginning. I don't know if you guys thought about Final Fantasy VII, but it's like they go do a heist, and then it kind of fails too, and then they go back down in the slums, like Final Fantasy VII. Also, they go back down in the slums, and they go to the bar also, like in Final Fantasy VII is the seventh heaven of Tifa, and in this Arcane setting is Last Drop, I think. So I thought it was like, did they kind of get the inspiration from a Final Fantasy VII beginning mission? I wonder. So if you're working for this, you can let me know. I'm curious. Here it's going above the horizon line. So there's some funky objects like a steampunk. You can get a little bit of the architecture if you want to for the storyboard, but it's not necessary all the time. You can try to just get the idea of the buildings, like they are slowly going into this street area, you know. So there is the street down below with maybe some vehicles and some people, and just to get the sense of uh, life happening in the place that they approach. So they use some interesting shapes to do the buildings also. This is interesting to do some shape studies, like the visual identity of the art direction. So here the building is kind of one of those classical tight angled streets that has one street on each side. I kind of messed up here. Here, this street should be more like here. So the buildings, they should be more, I should like move everything around here. But you get my mistake, you see. So it's a good, for example, you have the characters and the street is here, so you can correct here and do the streets here and the buildings and so on. So you correct, you can correct. Here some kind of Parisian roof, kind of looks like a little bit like those Parisian roof. Fortiche is a French studio, and I don't know if many of them are from Paris, but many cities in France they have the same kind of architecture, like they call Haussmann architecture. And in Paris, almost the whole city is done that way. So if you've been to Paris or you grew up there, your head is full with this kind of Parisian and close suburb style of architecture. We don't want to go too far with this one. So there is more buildings going there and there. And then you can do all kind of random, some buildings coming out, and you know, you do stuff, you know. The point is, if you have some buildings that needs to be there, then you try to draw them properly. But everything else, you don't have to be too crazy. This is like a greenhouse here. Okay. So some tones. So this is I didn't draw the cloud. Let's draw the cloud just to have the sense of flow. So you see here the clouds, so I won't be drawing them on top, but basically you have some clouds gathering here like this, and it goes like this, and there's some more movement, like thinner clouds that also flow in that direction. And here is a more quiet, more of the like settled background, like the city. Also you see the city is a still background, doesn't have movement. But this part here has a movement of guiding the eye towards this focus point area that the characters are looking at. So this is what we want to focus on. We want to share the experience, the emotion, the excitation that they feel, because this is their adventure of the day or something. So we want to be connected to them, so that's why we try to give a broad open horizon. So this is the idea behind the image, the composition. You want to the feel of open space and adventure, awaiting or something. So this is how you think about composition, about the emotion and the mindset of the characters that you are with at the moment. There is a little two bird here. Okay, for this one we won't be doing tones. I think it's not very important for this one. It's more of an atmospheric piece. There is no strong strong layering of the foreground, middle ground, and background. It's more of an atmospheric receding. Is it English? Receding? Yeah. And so we're gonna just move on with another one. So next one, you see this one is a more clear, strong composition. So here we have a very low line of horizon, which is about here maybe. We have the, if we do here, okay, we stop frame here and here. Let's give us some room. So we have the boot, the heel here, and it's going like this. And we will stop at this line at the bottom, at the top. So we have our frame here, all the way here. Here it continues in the back behind the reference photo. So this is a strong shot for immersive impact on the action. So we are in the shoes of the character, kind of, to be no pun intended. And here here, yes, a little bit lighter like this. Okay, about something like that. This is very, 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 very high perspective, like very strong. And here we have the other character. We have her back. So if we draw a line simple to have the middle of the character, we have a shoulder here. She has a bunch of stuff on the back, but let's focus on her anatomy. She has this leg in the back, straight into the ground, so-called. Then this one is going in the front, No, no, I think this one. Well, with the folding of the clothes, it's not very clear, but it's like she's light, a little bit like, yeah, and her arms. She has a very like determined posture. Okay, and then we have the here we have a little wall. They are like a Lupin Persona 5 team. Also, I got some Gravity Rush in the first episode. I don't know. I don't know, but I got some Final Fantasy VII vibes for the story mission, and some Gravity Rush colors and mood for the slums. When they arrive at the slums, the way it looks, it reminds me also quite a lot about Gravity Rush. So anybody from Fortish, let me know if you get some inspiration from Gravity Rush also, which would be a great inspiration. I really love Gravity Rush. Wish I could get my hands on the art book, but I got something on archive.org or something. I think it's one of the art books, but very difficult to find physically. Okay, we got some light ball here. Very nice design for the a mix of steampunk and Belle Epoque or Art Nouveau or something. Studio Fortiche, they did a nice job on the mix of cartoonish look, but also kind of Victorian mixed with some Parisian flair and some kind of cool. Here I messed up again the placing of some stuff. See, I put it too much on this side. Well, maybe if I frame it here, oh, it's okay. So we still have the city. You see, you don't have to do very detailed. Some very skinny towers, some bridges, whatever, you know, some buildings. And some light background here, some roofs, some faraway buildings a little bit. Here we can do some toning. It will be nice to have some tones. There is another building in the, but I would not put the building myself because I will make it simpler for the. So let's see. So we're gonna start with the background with some light. Alors, okay, multiply. We're good. So some basic, you see sky, some basic sky. Then we take, we need a bit clear values. So and here we're gonna contrast with a little bit more light. So we have returned to the softer color to break the midground. So you have the background is kind of a light soft, then the middle ground is a little bit darker. Then for the foreground you can also come back to a lighter color, you know, with some lines. You see the light bulb here is light also. Here the greenhouse is lighter also. Here the metal is reflecting the light from the sky also. And then you can have some darker tones for the characters to make them pop out. So remember, this story of contrast is very useful because even if we draw very well but we don't understand the importance of contrast, of values, of elements popping out, then we can end up with a very mediocre kind of result, even though maybe the face or the anatomy is great, but the composition, if it's not good, then even if you draw very well, technically, anatomy and faces and architecture or whatever, if you don't place the elements well, if the composition is not good, then it will doesn't look good. So that's why studying cinematography, looking at movies, animes, great ones, you know, just look at great stuff, you know, stuff that has great cinematography, you know, because there's also some mediocre stuff that is good enough for making anime and TV and even some movies. But if you want to learn the best, then look at the best from mangas, from comics, from cinema. So look at some videos about cinematography. I saw a few recently, talking about composition, light, and contrast, and so on, and it's very instructive. Here also we have the shadow even darker. We can put the shadow because it's kind of help to ground. Here we can put one shadow here like this. We can go very, let's see, make the boots, the character pop out. Here also some more shadow. All right, let's move on. Maybe a little bit long video. I don't know, maybe I stop there. Maybe it's enough for example. What do you think? Maybe it's good enough for this session, okay? We will continue later. So this is an example of how you can use the diaporama I put. You can use screencaps or take this as a example of how you can use your favorite anime or movie or TV show to do screen caps, and then you redo the storyboard and you get deeper understanding of how they chose how the director and maybe all the team that focus on the light, on the lighting, on the cameras and the angles, and working with the director, um, how they prepare, how they think about the shot, about the angle, where to put the camera, what the lighting should be, and so on. So here is I show you a little bit of the others I had prepared. Here, this one jumping, this one looking from the foreground to the background, then this one looking from the top to the bottom also. So you have some different angles. You see here is a dynamic close-up angle with a strong perspective. Here you have a close-up on the foot as she lands on the balcony. So you see that she has some grace and skill already. Then you see the very dramatic perspective from the bottom to the top when she jumps. Then here you see a different kind of composition from the inside. So you have some mild perspective from this angle towards the door, and you have the character looking in. So you have some storytelling going on, and that is the last one. So thank you for watching. If you discover the channel with this video, then there is a lot more coming. I'm very happy to start this series of videos on storyboarding, composition, and for myself also, because I want to learn more, to progress, to grow in my capacity to do quality composition for illustration, for manga and comics, and just to appreciate more, because I feel like when I look at movies or any storytelling, now I also have the eye of looking for this kind of understanding of composition, of how you create connection with the characters, with their emotions, with their fear, their anger, their peace, their connection with each other. And so It's a very interesting way to look at movies, anime, and so on. So I hope you enjoy this process also and discover more and get more curiosity and desire to draw to feel the passion of art. So that's it. So please like. If you're not subscribed, it will help a lot if you can subscribe and like. I don't intend necessarily on making a living with this channel, but just seeing that people enjoy and they put a like or a comment to express the enjoyment of the channel is actually helpful for the energy, even though I enjoy doing what I do and I do it also for myself to progress. But sharing is also part of the fun with YouTube. So um, have a good day and see you later.